Hello, and welcome to a hope-filled home. I know this is a little bit of a different way to start a video, but as you can tell, it's raining, and oftentimes when my wife and I share an encouraging word to a friend, it's through a song. And I was driving to work this morning, and a song that came to my mind was called "The Redeemer of the Rain." And you may be going through a storm right now, and the song goes, "The Lord will never waste our pain." I'm trying to remember it all, but He's the Redeemer of the rain. He brings hope for our heartache and healing out of brokenness. I'd encourage you to go listen to it. Search for it and listen to it. It's a really, really good song. I've totally butchered it, but just go and listen to it. And after you listen to this interview that I've made with my parents, Jeff and Jeanie Athey, about this very topic. Sarah and I obviously have a little bit of knowledge and backstory, and that's the reason why we're focusing on this topic. Because my parents, they have went through some difficult times, and they really still are. So that's why we want to have them share some good wisdom with you guys today. So I'll start with Mom, and then we'll go to Dad. So what has been the most difficult thing your spouse has gone through, and how did you help and support them through that time?
I think his most difficult has been having to deal with his neck issues and the surgery that he had to have. I know he was scared to have that done. And just being there for him, to comfort him, tell him that you're there for him, you're praying for him, you love him, is one of the best things that you can do. I mean, and you should do. If you truly love this person, tell them that you're here, that you will support them, and no matter what.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's really good. Anything else? Is that it?
But he's still dealing with the problems, and hopefully he's got the right doctor now that will be able to finish helping him get rid of that pain he's always in.
Okay. Dad?
Yeah, also I would agree that it would be a medical issue, would be the most challenging thing that Jeanie is. It's actually been an ongoing issue since back in March of 11, a semi-truck plowed into Jeanie on the highway going full speed. So it broke her neck, messed up 17 vertebrae in her back. It messed up both of her rotator cuffs, which are still torn because they haven't been able to get to that yet. 17 surgeries later on her arm. They actually did a first ever for anybody, which was they designed and put in her body a prosthetic humerus, the bone up here, which was also then attached to an artificial elbow, which then went on into her ulna in her forearm, and that was a huge ordeal. That's a whole separate story in and of itself. But ultimately, it was accomplished, and so then we were really encouraged by that because at long last we had turned a corner, and he said, "Okay, we got to completely relearn how to use the arm again," but that's just a lot of physical therapy. And now we can finally get to the back and work on those issues, and maybe we can even get the torn rotator cuffs repaired. So, so we were really optimistic and upbeat then after all those years and lots of surgeries and lots of money. So, and then here recently, her arm has been hurting her a lot. And she's had fever, the arm has had fever, literally radiating away from her arm. And so we met with the surgeon, and we actually have a meeting again, was it Monday, to look at the data. So the blood work, the x-ray, the nuclear medicine, bone scan. But we think there's a high probability that it will confirm what the surgeon thought when he scheduled all those tests, which is he thinks that the infection has in fact reappeared in her, in the ulna, especially the ulna portion of her bone. So the infection we hoped and prayed was gone appears that it's back. So if that is true, then I asked him what happens then. He said, probably the first thing he'll do is schedule surgery to take samples to confirm, and send it off to the lab in Seattle to try to figure out what the bug is. And then if he knows that, then that'll help him know which antibiotic to use to target it. Because otherwise they're really guessing. So then hopefully get rid of the infection. And then once he gets rid of the infection, he'll schedule a surgery to take that rod that's extending from the artificial elbow into the ulna out of there and replace it with a longer rod for the stability, because we think infection is allowing that current rod to move around inside the bone and work in a loose area in there. So that's why they need to make it longer to restabilize it, and then hopefully restabilize it, infection gone, put it all back together, and then loop back to physical therapy then again, and then hopefully readdressing the back and ultimately solving the torn rotator cuffs, because they can't do the torn rotator cuffs until they solve this, because day one after they do the torn rotator cuff, they want you raising your arm up and doing exercises.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't do that until you get an arm that works.
Yeah.
So there you go. So yeah, that's been quite challenging.
A whole lot.
It's like 9 years, over 9 years,
Right.
9.5 now.
So, I mean, I believe through answers to prayer that God allowed that surgeon to even be willing to design a device that's never been done before.
Yeah.
To be willing to try the surgery that's never been done before. And then, I mean, we haven't had enough money to cover all this. That's the truth of the matter.
Yeah.
And so God has used friends, family, acquaintances, even complete strangers to help. And a lot of those people, I probably think this is completely solved now, and it's not. So, but God knows.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a solution there somewhere that we don't know about yet. So yeah, we're still dealing with that. So when you ask the biggest challenge, yeah, I would have to say that's the biggest challenge, and still ongoing.
Yeah, definitely. That's really hard. That's a lot. So, how have you been able to support and help Mom through all of this?
So, I would say love, prayer, compassion, patience.
Lots of physical work.
lots of work. I've learned how to do a lot of things inside the home that she used to do.
You know how to do ponytails.
Yeah.
That's true.
That was one of the first challenges I remember you learning.
that I never, not that I wasn't willing, but never thought I would also have to do on top of everything else. But it's fine. I'll do that. It's okay. But it is a lot. I got to be honest. It's just a really heavy load, day in, day out, month after month, year after year. Because you would like to think that at some point the load would back off. That might be nice, but for whatever reason, it doesn't really. It just continues. So you just do what you have to do, and then just a tremendous amount of determination. I had multiple medical folks, doctors, surgeons, and people outside of the medical field tell me that they have never seen a spouse that is more determined and dedicated to solve a medical problem than what they've seen from me. It's just because I want to help. I don't want her to always have that problem. If she does, she does.
Yeah.
But if there's a way to solve it, then that's what I want to do first.
Yeah.
Time will tell.
I could really see how God had known all of this when he brought you all together. Just knowing Jeff, Dad's personality, and how he uniquely created you the way that you are. Determined, willing to work hard, willing to fight no matter what. Because he knew, he knew.
I've had
that
some
y'all were
people
gonna
tell
walk
me.
through that.
That's what you needed.
I have some people that have told me, your husband really loves you.
And it's obvious. I mean, to know anybody,
Yeah, he does.
the picture of love, God's love, serving and giving your everything.
Self-sacrifice.
Like you said, you go to work, you come home, you are on top of it. And Jeanie needs that, and I know she appreciates it so much.
Yeah.
And you guys have been such a testimony of love to each other in all ways. Even we were talking at lunch today about even sometimes I've noticed sometimes with couples they may talk down on their spouses or say negative things about them. And in all the years that I have known y'all, I've never remember a time when either one of you had said something negative about the other to me or to anybody where I could hear it. You both love each other so much, and it just radiates. It's such a testimony, and I appreciate that for sure. And I it's just taught me a lot about marriage and about loving each other.
So I hope you've gotten a blessing and an encouragement from that interview today. I just want to encourage you. If you're going through a hard time, just keep trusting the Lord, trusting that He will bring you through it. He's got a purpose for it all, even though we don't see it right now. Just keep hanging on. Know the truth, live the truth, and be wise.